When I was a kid, I had to go to bed before my big brother, but I got to stay up later than my little sister. If I saw a toy that my friend had and I asked for it, my parents would tell me, don't try to get everything that you see. However, if we were in the store and I showed interest in a toy, had my behavior the week before merited it, I would get the toy. My parents' tagline was, it's your job to do well at school and to listen to adults, and it's our job to provide for you. Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. I'm Violet. The reason I make these videos is to help people to understand that their mental health and physical health come together to create that overall sense of well-being. If you find these kind of videos helpful, please consider subscribing. I'm telling you about my childhood because I'm a little bit confused by the world we're living in that says, I want it, give it to me, I deserve it. Every kid gets a ribbon. No child is allowed to fail. That's our school system in Montreal, in Canada. No child's allowed to fail. If someone hits you and you defend yourself, you both get suspended. Kids today are being taught that everything is equal, everything is fair. But guess what? It actually isn't. You see, if you're not a good spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend will leave you. If you're not a good employee, you're going to get fired. If you're not a good friend, you won't have any. And all of those things are good things because what it makes us do is, first of all, behave appropriately. But second of all, our behavior impacts and influences what we have and what we get. Can you imagine the scenario where you work really hard to learn a skill, whether it's at school or it's, in life, and you take that skill and now you go to a company with it and they hire you, they say, wow, okay, we need someone who can do that. And you're getting an amazing pay for the skill that you bring that nobody else is bringing to the table. And then you find out that every person who's working under you, so all the people you're managing who are not doing a quarter of the work you're doing, who do not have the skill that you have, are making the same pay because it's only fair. How do you think you would feel about that? Because I know I would be much more than frustrated. I probably would leave. Why? Because if I took the time to learn how to do this, then, and they cannot do it, why are they getting paid the same as I am, right? But this is the world that we're trying to say that we should all be living. This is fair, right? It actually isn't. The amount of investment that it takes for me to learn how to do something should be reflected in the difference in pay for someone who didn't learn how to do that thing. And we all know that to be true. I'm not saying something shocking here. Why doesn't it function with our youth while they're in school? What is it teaching them? Okay, let's talk about what it's teaching them. With the current way that things are, video games, bedtime, the grades you get, apparently aren't based on the energy and effort and work you put in. And we've created a bunch of people that believe that they shouldn't have to work so hard, but they should still be able to succeed. And those kids grow up and they're in our world. And I see the repercussions of this when I try to talk to people in my office about weight. The idea that they can't just take a pill or just do just one small easy thing to make all of this be different is frustrating to them, is anger provoking in them. I've had so many people who just can't understand why it's not easier than that. Well, it's the fuel for your body. It's the building blocks for your body. What would make us believe that this very complex thing that we live in is going to be easy to build, going to be easy to power, especially if we're trying to power it in an efficient, appropriate way that leads to good health? The idea that I would have to prioritize my health over the taste of food actually makes people curse in my office. That's really, really sad to say out loud, but it's also really, really scary that we would say that how something tastes is more important than the way that my body feels. The ability that I have to play with my kids. The possibility that I would live an extra 10, 20 years. That's a struggle for me. What's even bigger struggle is people not being able to understand that if you don't put in the work, you won't lose the weight. Right? The same way that if you don't study, you won't pass the course. Except today, if you don't study, you do pass the course, right? And I think that's part of the problem, that we push our kids along. We've been pushing ourselves along for so long that now we feel like in our weight struggles, we can just push ourselves along. We can't. It doesn't work like that. And it's not just the weight loss process. You know, there are some people who are willing to put some effort into weight loss because they feel like it's going to be a short term. I do this for a few months or a few years, and then I get to eat like everybody else again. The problem is that we don't recognize that eating in that poor fashion is what got us in trouble in the first place. So the truth is, if you want to be healthy, it's not just about eating like this, so like this. It's not about eating healthy for a short period of time. It's about reorganizing your world so that you can eat healthy going forward in time. That's a commitment to being healthy all the time, okay? Does it mean I never, ever, ever can eat something fun? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm also just pointing out this idea that we're so focused on doing what's easy, that we want things handed to us, that we're not focusing on the fact that in that process of trying to do what's easy, we are harming our bodies. In that process of trying to do what's easy, we are creating metabolic situations that are leading to potential disease that we will have to then live with for extended period of time, and also excess weight that we will have to live with for extended period of time. This desire to do it the easy way, so not commit to doing the hard work that it will take to change my weight. Why does it make people so angry to think about prioritizing their health over the taste of food? I'm not sure. I really don't understand. You know, when I learned that my hip issue was being caused by the food I was eating, it was automatic for me. The food had to go. Now, am I going to say I didn't struggle with it at points in time? Yes, but the ultimate winner was, well, if you want to be healthy, you have to do the work to be healthy. Like, that was my mindset, because living in pain, first of all, the fact that I had lived in pain for so many years, because my bodily aches started at 22. I only found the solution when I was 45, I want to say. So my bodily aches had started way back. So do I think that it was something that I wanted to continue? No, of course I didn't want to continue, right? But did I have moments of hesitation? Of course I did. I needed to make sure that this information I was finding was true, first of all. But second of all, I needed to know how would I accomplish eating what I needed to eat to be healthy. Like, these were things that I researched and I figured out because my goal was be healthy. What's your goal? All right? Do we want an easy answer? Or do we want the healthy answer that means I'm healthy forever, but I have to work for it? The fact that I'm still healthy today is not by chance, is not by luck, is not because somebody else is making my meals for me. It's not because my extended family is working hard to help me, because trust me, the only person in my extended family that even tries a little bit to cook something that I can eat is my mother. And that took about 1.25 years. Although my mother had already been used to making me an alternative to red meats because I don't eat red meat, but to change and add more vegetables and etc., that took a little while, right? Because even my mother thought that this was some kind of diet that I'm doing and I won't keep up with it forever, because that's the mentality that we have. This mentality that, oh, you do something for a little bit of time and then, yeah, blah, blah, right? So it took a while for her to recognize that I wasn't going to stop. I was going to keep going forward because this is my new way of doing things. And if I look at my home, although I eat keto, my daughter doesn't eat keto. My boyfriend is low carb. So the truth is that I'm constantly surrounded by foods that if I ate them would put me over my keto numbers. And yet somehow I manage. Well, how do I manage? First of all, by eating my ketogenic lifestyle, I've eliminated my addiction to carbohydrates. So that makes that much easier to not be tempted by foods that are in front of me. But second of all, for the stuff that Patrick eats that I technically could eat because they're low carb, I still don't eat them in excess. Why? Because when I eat healthy, I feel better. I would rather feel better than chase a taste. And I'm encouraging all of you to start to think that way, to focus on feeling healthy more so than chasing a taste. So my success comes from growing up in a household where my behavior determined my outcomes. Understanding that if I made a mistake, it meant I didn't get something. I lost a privilege, or I didn't get the toy that I wanted, right? Understanding that if I made a mistake, it was my fault, right? I couldn't blame my mom or my dad for being mean. I had to look at it and say, no, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I got caught. Okay, I'm not getting what I want. And that translates to today, because you don't get good health from eating junk food. You get good health by eating healthy. If I put in the effort, energy, work to eat well, I get the positive outcome of good health. And if I go off track, it's me. If I go off track, I decide to go off track. If I show up at someone's house and they told me they were making one kind of meal, and then they turn around and they made a different kind of meal that I cannot eat, I don't eat. Because tomorrow, I'm the one that's going to feel bad. I can't blame somebody else for me choosing to eat the wrong thing. I really want my wellness warriors to take that last comment into consideration, because we're so quick to say, oh, but Christmas is coming. Oh, New Year's is coming. Oh, birthdays are coming. Oh, Easter is coming. Valentine's Day is coming. Halloween is coming. There's always going to be an event that's coming that potentially could throw us off track. And I need you to understand that it's a decision you're making. I don't believe there's anybody in your life that's going to hold you down and force you to eat something you don't want to eat. So if that food ends up in your mouth, you need to take responsibility and say, I ate it. And then when you've just taken that responsibility and really acknowledge that, okay, I ate it, now you have to back up and say, okay, why did I eat it? Why did I decide today that eating a cookie, that eating a piece of cake, why did I decide that that was more important than staying on track and being healthy? I feel like when we start to answer that question, we're going to start to realize that, yes, this, I deserve it. I should be able to have. I should be like everybody else. The world should be easy. We shouldn't have to work hard for good health. All of these ideas are going to start to show themselves to you. But the truth is, life has never been easy. The world has always been hard. And yes, we've always had to work hard for good health. I was eating rice on a daily basis from the time I was probably about 8 or 9 months old, right? Because my parents are from the Caribbean. That, of course, contributed to my eventual 22-year-old knees hurting me all the time. If I would have known, I would have stopped it back then. Well, now you know. I'm telling you, carbohydrates have a huge impact on how you feel. Carbohydrates can lead to metabolic issues that eventually terminate your life. Carbohydrates are that toxic in excessive amounts. Now you know. What are you going to do with that information? Are you going to wait for some easier way to lose weight? Are you going to wait for some easier way to solve your metabolic issue? Or are you going to put in the energy, effort, work that it takes to get your carbohydrate number down low and solve your metabolic issues? I really hope you choose to do the work, because in actuality, that's the thing that's going to work long term. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, because I make new videos every week on my Wellness Warriors. Always happy to see you back. I want to let you guys know that I do have Patreon. You can go to Patreon/Violet Rivera. You find all the information there if you decide to make a contribution to the production of videos. I want to thank you for stopping by again. I love making these videos for you guys, and I really can't wait to see you again next week.